Hi, I'm Sean Moynihan. Welcome to this edition of our Risks in Focus series. Today we're at Mercy College, where we're going to discuss school security.
If there's somebody that's planning an attack against a school, they're going to look for the school that has no access control, no security. Prior to Sandy Hook, a lot of schools seem to have many doors that you could enter into the school. Now what you're seeing is schools are controlling it to one or two entrance points. The rest of the doors are going to be locked. And there's usually either a physical person monitoring a door that has to check someone into the building, or it's monitored by closed circuit TV, and there's an intercom system where a visitor coming to the school will have to be buzzed into the building. If you look at it from a real bad guy's perspective, what better way to bring America to its knees than to take away the innocence of children and go into American schools and hurt children? So in order to create safe learning environments, we should have security measures in place that are appropriate to not be the lowest hanging fruit. We want to make sure that the top administrators in the school understand the importance of creating a culture of safety. And if they're not thinking along those lines, we want to give them advice so they do. And even school officials that previously may have thought in academic terms that they didn't want police or security or certain things in schools, I think that is starting to change because we're seeing an increase in these school attacks. Another important issue to consider is training. Training is crucial when it comes to responding to any type of crises, because whether or not you have a very quick police or fire response, school officials, teachers' aides, recess aides, whoever is at that school at the time of a crisis instantly becomes an emergency manager when something happens. So if schools aren't prepared to mitigate something when it occurs, then it could pose a problem, because you could have 2, 5, 10 minutes before first responders arrive at the school. So I concentrate a lot on training school officials, training their crisis teams, training them how to properly do drills, whether it be a lockdown or a lockout or an evacuation. Another very popular drill that I push is a weather emergency drill. In the event of a tornado or high gusty winds, I help schools identify safe areas inside the building where they could take students to and shelter from exterior threats such as tornado activity. 3 things schools should take a look at. Are they thinking in terms of creating a safe school environment? Do they have appropriate plans in place? And are they promoting the idea that we take safety seriously? How do you know if a school takes it seriously? Well, how often do they train? How many lockdown drills does the school do? How many days do they dedicate to have workshops where security experts will come in and simulate scenarios and have their faculty work through these scenarios? A PA system is crucial. Schools should have a way where a PA system can be, you can broadcast announcements throughout the whole campus. Out at athletic fields, for example, if you don't have speakers that go out to the athletic fields, a lot of schools, the fields are separate from the school, obviously. I would recommend like an emergency call box. Sometimes we would recommend even a strobe light, where if you're an athletic coach and you look up and you see a strobe light going off, you know that there is something going on campus to call the office. And portable radios. It's used by every first responder out there. It's an effective way to communicate. If there's a power failure, your portable radio still works. Communications is huge, and if you're talking about liability, wait until something happens and the reason they couldn't get help there or weren't notified of an emergency is because they couldn't communicate that emergency. Now you have a problem. So communications is huge. There hasn't been a fire-related fatality in an American school in over 60 years. And schools, by law, are required to do a minimum of 12 fire drills per year. There's all kinds of regulations on how the walls are to be built and sprinklers and evacuation routes. Yet, the #1 cause of death in an American school today is to be shot by another student. So why don't we do more lockdown drills, and why don't we do more evacuation drills? After there's a school shooting, we see the same interviews time and time again. They interview people and they say, I can't believe it happened here. This is a safe community. How could such a terrible thing happen in this community? And I think people better wake up, because it can happen anywhere at any time. So we want to minimize that risk and put the proper measures in place. I'm a father of 3 children, and I, like millions of other Americans, drop my kids at school every day, and I have to trust that the school officials that they're under their care are going to keep them safe. So as a parent, I expect my kids to be safe at school. My background is from law enforcement. I was an emergency management school safety liaison at a police department. So I got to know how schools operate. I worked with school officials regularly. And I realized it's really important. Education in this country is crucial. And educational continuity is crucial as well. And if we can't effectively educate our students and keep school open, then how are we going to be able to compete in the world? How are we going to educate our kids and get them off to college? So to me, it's a passion. I'm a father, but I'm also a security expert, and I put the two together, and I believe I come up with some really good programs for schools.